Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the stories of rare coins and hidden treasures you could already have in your pocket or coin jar, rarest coins. Today, we are going deep into one of the most talked about coins in modern numismatic history, the 1965 Washington quarter. At first glance, the 1965 quarter seems completely ordinary. It looks like any other pocket change, but what if I told you that one of these coins sold for an astonishing $1.8 million? That is right, $1.8 million for a coin you might have dismissed as spare change. So what makes this coin so special? How can you tell if you have one? And why is the 1965 quarter such a big deal for collectors? Stick with me and let us uncover the full story behind one of the most valuable quarters ever struck. The history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Washington on the front and an eagle with outstretched wings on the back. From 1932 to 1964, these quarters were made of 90% silver, but in 1965, everything changed due to rising silver prices. The United States Mint removed silver from dimes and quarters starting that year. That makes 1965 the very first year that Washington quarters were produced using a copper-nickel-clad composition instead of silver. The new quarters still looked similar to the silver ones, but they no longer had any precious metal content. Instead, they were made of a copper core layered with nickel, making them much cheaper to produce and harder to melt down for profit. The importance of 1965 because it marked the transition away from silver. The year 1965 holds special significance in the world of coin collecting. The U.S. Mint went to great lengths to prevent any 1965 quarters from being struck on silver planchets or leftover silver blanks, but despite their efforts, a few mistakes happened. A tiny number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on 1964 silver planchets. These rare error coins are the reason why collectors pay such close attention to every 1965 quarter they find, because if you happen to discover one of these silver-struck errors, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. The 1965 quarter that sold for $1.8 million. Now, let us talk about the legend itself. One specific 1965 Washington quarter was certified and authenticated as being struck on a silver planchet. It was found in pristine condition, graded at an incredibly high mint state level, and verified by a top-tier grading service. Because of its historic value, its rarity, and its flawless condition, this coin became the centerpiece of a major coin auction. A fierce bidding war erupted, and in the end, the final price soared to an unbelievable $1.8 million. This was not just any quarter, this was a true mistake coin, a survivor of a time when the U.S. Mint was undergoing massive changes and doing everything it could to keep silver coins out of circulation. But this one slipped through the cracks and ended up in the hands of someone who recognized its value. How to tell if you have a rare 1965 quarter? Now, here is the part you have been waiting for. How can you tell if your 1965 quarter is one of the rare ones that could be worth a fortune? Start by checking the date. It must be 1965. That part is obvious. Next, weigh the coin. A standard copper nickel-clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That small difference can reveal a lot if you have a precise digital scale. This is one of the easiest ways to spot a potential silver planchet error. Also, check the edges. A modern clad quarter will have a visible copper edge. A silver quarter will appear solid gray or white all the way around. If you see no copper stripe, that is another strong clue you might have something rare. Finally, examine the surface of the coin. Silver coins tend to have a more brilliant shine and softer wear patterns compared to clad coins. If the coin looks like it has a silver tone instead of the usual grayish tint, it might be worth investigating. If you believe you have a 1965 quarter struck on silver, do not clean it and do not try to modify it in any way. Instead, take it to a certified coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They can examine it, weigh it, test the metal, and provide a formal grade and authentication. Other valuable 1965 quarters. Even if your 1965 quarter is not struck on silver, there are still other versions that can be worth money. A 1965 quarter in mint state condition with no wear and strong details can sell for $50 to $200 depending on its grade. If it has an off-center strike or other mint errors, such as double dies, clipped planchets, or misaligned dies, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These kinds of coins are out there, and people do find them in everyday circulation. Why collectors love this coin? What makes the 1965 quarter so special is not just the metal change, but the mystery behind how a silver planchet could have survived the Transition. The idea that a few coins defied the rules and slipped into the wild fascinates collectors and historians alike, plus the fact that these coins can still be found in everyday change or in old collections means there is always a chance that the next $1 million find could happen to you. Conclusion. The story of the 1965 Washington quarter is more than just a tale of metal and money. It is a story of transition, of human error, and of the hidden value in ordinary things. It proves that even the smallest coin can carry a big secret. So check your change, look at your old coins, and pay attention to the little details, because one day you might find yourself holding a quarter worth $1.8 million. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more hidden coin treasures and collecting tips. And if you have a 1965 quarter, drop a comment below and let us know what it looks like. Maybe, just maybe, one of you is holding the next big discovery. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and happy collecting. Let me know if you would like help with a short version for social media or a version formatted for voiceover with pacing cues and visual suggestions. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden secrets of everyday coins you might already own. Today, we are diving into the incredible story of the 1979 Washington quarter. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that looks just like any other pocket change has reportedly sold for as much as $1.4 million. This video is going to walk you through the history, the hidden value, and what exactly makes one of these coins so incredibly valuable. If you're a coin collector or just curious about what might be sitting in your change jar, stay tuned, because this is one you do not want to miss. History of the Washington quarter. Let us start from the beginning. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 as a tribute to the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and has been a mainstay in American coinage ever since. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the original design features a left-facing profile of George Washington on the obverse and a majestic eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. This design continued until the launch of the state quarters program in 1999. The quarter has always been one of the most commonly used coins in American life, and because of that, millions of them have passed through our hands. But as any seasoned collector knows, not all quarters are created equal. The 1979 quarter. Now, let us fast forward to the year 1979. The Denver Mint produced more than 489 million Washington quarters that year. The D mint mark located on the obverse side beneath Washington's neck indicates it was struck in Denver. With so many coins in circulation, it would seem almost impossible for one of these to be worth more than a few cents above face value. But here is where things take a surprising turn. One specific 1979 quarter has made headlines because it sold at auction for an eye-watering $1.4 million. That is a life-changing amount of money for a coin. Most people would overlook what makes this coin so valuable. So how does a coin go from being worth 25 cents to being worth over $1 million? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and possible minting errors. First, let us talk about condition. This specific 1979 quarter is believed to be in what collectors call mint state 68 or even higher on the Sheldon grading scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A coin graded this high means it is virtually flawless, showing no signs of wear, with incredibly sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. Coins of this quality are extremely rare, especially for ones that were intended for general circulation. Secondly, there is the possibility of a mint error or anomaly. Minting errors can significantly increase a coin's value, especially when combined with a high-grade condition. We are talking about things like double die strikes, off-center strikes, or coins that were struck on the wrong metal planchet. In some cases, these errors are so subtle that only professional graders can identify them. And finally, there is demand in the world of numismatics. When a coin like this surfaces with top-tier condition and an error that no one else has, collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar. Add in a little media buzz, and the result is a record-breaking sale. The auction story. The $1 million 1979 quarter came to light during a major coin auction where rare and high-grade coins often attract serious attention. Collectors and investors alike were shocked to see the bids climb higher and higher. Eventually, the hammer came down at a stunning $1.4 million, setting a new precedent for what modern coins can be worth. This sale sent ripples through the coin collecting community. It challenged assumptions about what kinds of coins could reach seven figures, and it inspired everyday people to start looking more closely at their own pocket change. How to spot a valuable 1979 quarter. Now, you might be wondering, could I have one of these rare coins at home? Here is what to look for. First, examine the mint mark. If it has a clear D underneath Washington's neck, then you know it is a Denver minted 1979 quarter. Next, inspect the overall condition. Does it look almost brand new? Does it have sharp details and no signs of wear? The Closer to mint state the better. Then look for signs of possible mint errors. These might include doubling in the lettering or numbers, an off-center strike, or unusual coloration that could suggest it was struck on the wrong type of metal. Finally, if you suspect you have something rare, do not try to clean the coin. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A professional grade is the only way to know for sure what your coin is truly worth, and it is also necessary for selling it at auction. Other valuable quarters from 1979. While the $1 million quarter is one of a kind, there are other valuable 1979 quarters you should keep an eye out for. For example, there are some 1979 S-proof quarters with clear or Type 2 S-mint marks that are highly sought after by collectors. These can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their condition. Even a regular 1979 D in mint state condition can be worth $10 to $20 or more, which is still a big jump from its face value. And the best part is these coins are still out there waiting to be discovered. Conclusion. So there you have it, the 1979 D Washington quarter may seem ordinary, but it has the potential to be an extraordinary treasure with a possible value of up to $1.4 million. It proves that even modern coins can be worth a fortune under the right circumstances. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories about coins that could change your life. Share this with a friend who collects coins, or even someone who always has a pocket full of change. You never know who might be sitting on $1 million quarter. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep checking your change and happy collecting. Let me know if you want a version with timestamps, pacing for visuals, or if you plan to include B-roll or images. I can help structure that too. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket right now. Today, we are talking about the 1995 D Washington quarter, a coin that is usually considered common, but one example has shocked the numismatic world with an unbelievable price tag of $1.3 million. Rarest coins. Yes, you heard that right, $1.3 million for a coin that most people would ignore or toss into a jar. We are going to break down why this coin became so valuable, what makes it special, and how you can check your own quarters to see if you have a potential jackpot sitting at home. So grab your coin jar and stay with me, because this is one of those stories that proves treasure can be hiding in plain sight. History of the Washington quarter. To really understand the value of the 1995 D quarter, we have to go back in time and look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. This iconic coin was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. The design was created by John Flanagan and features Washington's left-facing portrait on the front with a bold eagle on the reverse. From 1932 all the way through 1998, the Washington quarter kept a very similar design until the state quarters program began in 1999. These coins are so common that people often overlook them, but every once in a while something unexpected happens, a minting mistake, a rare variation, or a perfect strike that creates something incredibly rare and valuable. The 1995 D Washington quarter. Now fast forward to 1995. The Denver Mint produced millions of Washington quarters that year, in fact over 1.1 billion. 1995 D quarters were struck, that's billion with a B, so naturally you would assume there is nothing rare or valuable about them. But here is the twist: a single 1995 D Washington quarter has reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.3 million. What could possibly make one of the most common coins in America worth more than a Ferrari, a house, or even some pieces of fine art? It all comes down to three things: condition, rarity, and uniqueness. What makes the coin so valuable? Let's start with condition. The $1.3 million quarter was reported to be in near-perfect condition, graded at mint state 68 or higher. This means the coin is flawless, even under magnification. No scratches, no wear marks, full original luster, and sharp details. Next is rarity. While most 1995 D quarters are mass-produced, a few might have been struck using special dies or struck on the wrong metal planchet. These minting errors are incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. If a coin was struck on a silver planchet instead of copper, nickel, or had a double die error or off-center strike, that kind of error can make a huge difference in value. And finally, uniqueness. This coin likely had a perfect storm of being both a mint error and a perfect strike, a combination that collectors call one in a billion. That's what creates such high auction value, because for collectors and investors, owning the best or the only example of a rare coin is priceless. The auction that shocked collectors when this rare 1995 D quarter was authenticated and graded, it was sent to a high-end coin auction. The buzz in the coin collecting community was huge. People were stunned to see such a recent coin fetching such high bids. As the bidding war heated up, the final hammer price reached $1.3 $3 million, that's right, $1.3 million. For a modern quarter, this sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world and made headlines across the globe. How to check your 1995 D quarter. Now, here's the big question. Could you have one of these rare 1995 D quarters in your possession? It is possible, but you need to know what to look for. Start by checking the mint mark. Look under the date on the front of the coin. If it has a D, it was minted in Denver. Now examine the overall condition. If it looks uncirculated with no wear or scratches, that is a good sign. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to check for any doubling in the lettering or numbers. Look at the edges to see if there are any unusual metal lines or signs of an error. If you think your quarter might be special, do not try to clean it. Cleaning a coin can actually destroy its value. Instead, take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine it, authenticate it, and give it an official grade, which is essential if you want to sell it. Other valuable 1995 quarters. Even if you do not have the 1 in a million coin, other 1995 quarters can still have value. For example, if you find one in mint state condition, it might be worth $5 to $20. And if it has a visible mint error or die variety, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands. There is also demand for full strike quarters with clean, sharp details, especially for collectors working on complete sets from the 1990s, so keep an eye out. Because even if you don't hit the $1 million jackpot, you might still find a valuable coin. Conclusion. The story of the 1995 D Washington quarter is a perfect reminder that rare and valuable coins are not always old. They are not always gold or silver. Sometimes they are right in front of us, disguised as common change. A single quarter from 1995 sold for $1.3 million because of its flawless condition, a possible minting error, and intense collector interest. That is why it is so important to check your coins carefully, because you never know what treasure might be hiding in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about rare coins that could be worth a fortune. Leave a comment below if you have a 1995 quarter and want help figuring out its value. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and never underestimate the power of a small coin. Let me know if you want a downloadable version, a shortened script for TikTok, or a version optimized for voiceover and pacing with images and video suggestions. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures. Today, we are talking about a coin that looks so ordinary most people would never give it a second glance. The 1983 P. Washington quarter, a coin that came from a time when America was still adjusting to new economic realities, and one that most people spent without a thought. But there is one version of this quarter that has stunned the collecting world, a coin that has reportedly been sold for a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. That is right, a simple quarter minted in 1983 with a P mark from the Philadelphia Mint turned out to be worth more than most homes and cars. So what makes this coin so valuable? How can a modern quarter hold such an insane price tag? And most importantly, what should you be looking for in your own change drawer or coin jar? Let us dive into the fascinating story of the 1983 P. Washington quarter. The history behind the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been part of American currency since 1932. It was first introduced to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design was created by John Flanagan, and it features a profile of Washington on the obverse or front side. For many decades, the reverse of the quarter displayed an eagle with outstretched wings until the state quarters program was introduced in 1999. The Washington quarter became one of the most circulated coins in the country. Everyone from kids to collectors to cashiers handled them daily. But just because a coin is common does not mean every version of it is ordinary. The context of 1983. Now, let us talk about the year 1983, a time of economic recovery and government belt-tightening. The United States Mint was under pressure to cut costs. That meant lower quality materials. No mint sets were released that year, and overall production was focused on quantity, not perfection. That makes 1983 a unique year in U.S. coinage history. Unlike many other years, collectors could not buy pristine mint sets directly from the government. This meant the only way to get high-quality 1983 coins was to pull them directly from circulation. At the time, most 1983 coins, even those saved, were handled and used, and they show signs of wear. That is why finding a 1983 quarter in near-perfect condition is so incredibly rare, and why it is one of the most valuable modern quarters out there. The 1983 P quarter that sold for $1.5 million. So how did one of these quarters fetch $1.5 million at auction? The key factors were condition, rarity, And something very special about this particular coin: first, the condition this quarter was graded as mint state 68 or higher on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A mint state 68 coin is nearly flawless, with full luster, strong strike, and no signs of handling. That alone is extremely rare for any circulated coin from the 1980s. Second, there was a minting anomaly or error. That specific 1983 P quarter was believed to be struck on a planchet with slightly different composition or weight, making it stand out to expert graders and collectors alike. Finally, this coin was certified by a major grading agency and sold in a competitive auction where wealthy collectors battled for the chance to own a one-of-a-kind piece of numismatic history. That bidding war is what pushed the final price up to $1.5 million. How to identify a valuable 1983 P quarter? So, now the big question. Could you have one of these valuable quarters without even realizing it? Here is what you need to look for. First, flip your quarter and check for the mint mark. If you see a P below the date, that means it was minted in Philadelphia, which is what you want. Second, examine the overall condition. The more perfect the coin, the better. Look for sharp details, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle feathers on the back. Also, check the coin's surface for full original shine and no scratches or nicks. Third, be on the lookout for mint errors. These can include things like off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet issues. If something about the coin looks unusual, it might be worth serious money. And finally, if you think you have a coin that could be valuable, never clean it. Cleaning a coin destroys its collector value. Always take it to a trusted coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGCY. 1980 3 quarters are important to collectors even if you do not find the $1,000,000 coin. 1,983 quarters in general are still highly collectible because the U.S. Mint did not issue mint sets in 1983. High-grade examples are rare and in demand. A solid mint state 1983 P quarter, even without errors, can fetch anywhere from $20 to $100 depending on the grade, and some versions with full strike and brilliant uncirculated condition are regularly bought by collectors who are trying to complete their modern quarter sets. So, while most people are tossing these coins aside or using them in vending machines, the smart collectors are hunting for high-grade examples. Conclusion: the 1983 P Washington quarter is a perfect example of how something common can become incredibly rare under the right circumstances. A year without mint sets combined with poor handling and circulation means that flawless quarters from this year are like finding a needle in a haystack, and in the case of one extraordinary coin, that needle turned out to be worth $1.5 million. So the next time you are digging through your change, take a closer look at those quarters. Look for the P mint mark, check the condition, and be aware of anything that seems out of the ordinary. You just might be holding a life-changing coin in your hands. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more hidden coin stories, and share this with anyone who might be hoarding coins without realizing what they have. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep learning, and happy collecting. Let me know if you want a version with suggested visuals, B-roll clips, or time-coded cues for editing purposes. Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, valuable collectibles, and the hidden treasures you might already have in your home. Rarest coins. Today we are exploring the story of the 1990 D Washington quarter, a coin that most people spend without a second thought, but one that has shocked collectors by reportedly being sold for a staggering $1.2 million. That is right, $1.2 million for a coin that is just over 3 decades old and still in circulation. Could you have one of these in your pocket or stashed away in your coin jar? Stick around, because we are going to break down everything you need to know about this quarter, including its origin, what makes it so valuable, and how to spot one that could make you rich. History of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter featured a side profile of Washington on the front and an eagle with wings spread wide on the back. This classic design became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. For decades, the Washington quarter remained relatively unchanged, appearing in millions of transactions across the country. From gas stations to vending machines, it became an everyday part of life. But for collectors, some years stand out more than others due to rarity, condition, or unique minting issues. The 1990 D Washington quarter. Now, let us talk about the 1990 D Washington quarter. The D mint mark indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint, and like most modern quarters, it was produced in high numbers. In fact, over 927 million of These were made in 1990, that is nearly a billion coins, so why would one of them sell for $1.2 million? That is where things get interesting, because while most of these coins are worth only face value, there are rare exceptions, coins with extraordinary minting errors, perfect conditions, or unique qualities that separate them from the rest. Y1 1990 D quarter sold for $1.2 million according to reports. A single 1990 D Washington quarter once sold for $1.2 million through a private collector network. The reason: it was a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and a possible minting anomaly. The coin was graded mint state 68 or higher. A coin of that grade is considered nearly flawless, with no visible scratches, blemishes, or signs of wear. Under magnification, it would have retained its original shine, sharp details, and struck features, as if it had just left the mint that day. But the real kicker was an extremely rare minting error. Some experts believe the coin may have been struck on a different planchet, possibly intended for a foreign coin, or struck off-center with unique characteristics that made it one of a kind. Combined that with its pristine condition and high demand from elite collectors, and you have the recipe for a $1 million quarter. The role of coin grading in the world of coin collecting. Grading is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin, especially for modern coins like the 1990 D, where condition matters more than age or rarity alone. A standard 1990 D quarter in circulated condition is still worth just 25 cents, but a high-grade version, especially with a known mint error, can skyrocket in value. Coins graded MS67 or MS68 by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can already be worth hundreds or even thousands. Add in a one-of-a-kind error, and the price can hit 6 or 7 figures. What to look for in your 1990 D quarter. So how do you know if your 1990 D quarter is valuable? Here is a simple checklist. First, check for the mint mark. Look for the D just below Washington's ponytail. If it is missing or looks odd, that could be your first clue. Second, inspect the overall condition. If the coin appears to be in perfect or near perfect shape with no scratches or signs of wear, it may be a high-grade specimen. Third, look for possible errors. This includes double die features, where lettering or numbers appear slightly doubled, an off-center strike, or unusual metal tones that could indicate the wrong planchet was used. Fourth, and most important, if you think your coin could be rare, do not clean it or try to improve its appearance. That can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for a formal evaluation. Other valuable 1990 quarters. Even if you do not find the $1 million coin, there are still other 1990 D quarters that can fetch high prices. A quarter in mint state 67 can sell for around $100 to $300 depending on the market. While that may not be retirement money, it is still a great return on a coin you got as change from the store. Collectors are especially interested in high-grade modern coins because they are so hard to find. Most coins from the 1990s were heavily circulated, so finding one in pristine condition is rare and valuable. Conclusion: the story of the 1990 D Washington quarter reminds us that hidden treasures are all around us, in drawers, purses, old piggy banks, and coin jars. Even modern coins can hold incredible value if the right conditions come together. One quarter, 1D mint mark, one nearly flawless strike combined with a rare error was all it took to turn an ordinary piece of pocket change into $1.2 million. So before you spend your quarters, take a moment to check them. Look closely at the date, the condition, and the details. You never know when you might be holding history in your hands. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins. Share this with your friends and family, because someone you know might be holding on to a fortune without even realizing it. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep learning, and as always, happy collecting. Let me know if you want a downloadable text version or a follow-up script on how to grade coins, or send them in for certification.